Well, I will call the meeting to order because I do need to vote. Tim, have you voted?
Yep.
You have. All right. I may turn this over to somebody if it goes too far. So first order of business is seating folks for full members. So BJ is not here. So I'll entertain a motion for a replacement for BJ.
I move that Catherine Tuma be seated for BJ.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion? None. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. We got like two majority. I suppose that works. Okay, great.
Well, now we have 4.
Yeah, now we right, exactly. All right, so for Jude, I'll entertain a motion for replacement for Jude.
I'll nominate Matt to vote for Jude.
Second?
I'll second that.
Great. Any discussion? Hearing none, move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Great, motion carries. Okay. Full coterie of folks. Excellent. Senior Center Town vote.
We had the hearing last Monday, and we had about 20 people, I guess. It was the third and final preparatory. So it's going on today. So if anybody hadn't voted, why, hippity hop. But Lyme passed it, as you know, so I think it looks favorable for passage. So that being the case, then the committee voted to recommend we get a construction manager on the project, which would be the owner's representative, and which one of the things that person could do is, as you get into subcontractors, they would vet the subcontractors along with the contractor itself to make sure the prices were right and the credentials were good and so forth, as opposed to if you don't have the CM, then the contractor just designates his own, which might not be bad, but better to have a little input. And so the timing would be, the drawings would be finalized by the first part of July. There'd be an RFP shortly for a construction manager. And then during July, the documents could be prepared for the bidding. And once those were ready to go, there'd be an RFP for the contractor. That process could take a while, and then hopefully things could settle out to start in September, best case. There have been plans to relocate some of the things that go on Steen Center and other places. I think Christ the King would do the luncheon deal from the estuary. Rogers Lake Clubhouse is volunteering some space. I think they could do a little bit of stuff in here. So they're scrounging around to find space. Not everything will be accommodated, likely, but lectures might be put in a library and so forth. So they'll be doing what they can to get through about a 12-month period. So, and probably 8:30 we'll know.
Okay. I'm going to scoop. Ambulance Association.
Unfortunately, the ambulance isn't here, but we had in the budget a full-time ambulance person, and they have reported back, the management, that they're really not confident in designated anyone as a full-time person. So they think that there are rules which govern how volunteers can be paid for things. So if a volunteer goes on a call, I think it's a $50 fee to do the call. You get out of bed, you get $50. So if a volunteer were to, say during the day, were to step into a shift, then that would obviously not be $50. They would be paid something more. So they're trying to come up with a stipend type of thing so as to not run afoul of compensating volunteers, which they're not supposed to do. In a true sense, like you're getting $25 an hour or something. So they're trying to come up with a system that would enable the volunteers to actually take a shift and get a stipend of some sort. So they'll be probably come back with a plan to share as to how that might work.
Do you think it affects the overall budget?
Yeah, I think rather than have benefits, which depending on who you hire could be, mid $20,000 range for family medical, if the stipend arrangement could pass all the tests, they would be paid like a contractor, or I'm not sure whether it's a stipend for each one or I can't imagine it's a stipend for a longer period of time because you don't know how many shifts you're going to take. So they wouldn't need the holidays, the vacation, the sick time, all the things that go along with a full-time employee. So,
But my question is for 23-24,
yeah,
do you think it'll have any effect on the budget that was passed by the town?
one would hope that it would be cheaper because
But not over 20 grand that we would have to...
No, I think it would be less.
Right.
Because if the various shifts were covered by the part-time staff, then occasionally you'd shoot somebody in to take a shift. I would say they'd be probably paid less hourly than a full-timer would be, and you wouldn't have all the bennies.
So within the budget that we passed...
I think it should be okay.
Right, okay.
But we'll get them in here to give us the real mathematical analysis on how that would work.
I mean, we've been paying Monday through Friday, 6 A to 6 P, I think, for coverage.
Right.
And that was all part-timers taking shifts, so this was...
One of those part-time people does not show up or can't show up, then the question is, what do you do? So if you don't have a big bullpen of part-timers, you might say, this volunteer is available today, can we use that person? And if it was a kind of just almost like a per diem or something, a stipend of some sort, that might be less expensive than the overhead of paying a wage plus penny.
Right. Oh, I'm sure it would be, but this is kind of the problem, isn't it, the Niantic Fire Department ran into with volunteers and paid? And that
Because then all the volunteers are like, well, I'll just be part-time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Everyone's part-time. So,
So you'd need someone in a legal capacity to say this doesn't infringe on the volunteer status.
if someone wants to remain a volunteer, because the problem with Niantic was all of a sudden everyone was getting paid for their time, and you had no more volunteers because they could just be...
Yeah, because I guess the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., when the volunteers respond, that would be the same. So it's the first 12-hour thing. So Tom Rosansky and Jane Beisko will be coming to us with something more precise.
If it's not going to change the budget at all, I mean, I don't feel the need for that. This is me personally, and I ask the rest of the board. I don't feel the need for them to necessarily have to come to describe kind of the sausage making of how they're going to get enough folks.
So we could circulate some kind of a paper on it.
If they'd like, yeah. So if it's all going to be within our budget and it's just kind of rearranging stuff, then I don't want to inconvenience folks if there's not a need. If they would like to come, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think the real thing is, does it satisfy labor laws and the volunteer thing? And that's the Board of Selectmen to make sure that's looked into properly.
Right. We don't want to run afoul of that.
Yeah. Because then it will come back to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Ambulance Association, right?
Yep.
Good. All right, Emergency Management, Fire Department, Boughton Road Firehouse, ice machine.
I believe there are 2 ice machines. One's at Cross Lane, one's at Boughton. and the one at Boughton is quite old, and plating is starting to fall into the ice, so it's not good. The machine, according to Dave Roberge, is about a $6,200 investment, and he has been working with emergency millstone and stuff, and I guess there can be a case made that an ice machine could be partially helped through the fund, millstone, but he's putting together some year-end money, and then the fire department might use some of their donated money to make this work. I think the fire department might be coming up with a little over $2,000, and then there might be some FEMA or millstone capital. Remember that $120,000 stuff that might come out of there. So they're practically finalizing what they could do to pay for this thing.
Is this, is it cooling station? Is it organ related? Like, what is the ice machine for? I'm just curious.
Take ice on the ambulance to help in situations where ice is appropriate
But
to be applied.
$6,200 ice
They're
machine,
big.
that's like a commercial.
Yeah, oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the one
It's like
at
a
Plain.
hotel,
It's
a
big machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there deer parts in there from hunting season, or like, what are the guys doing with all that ice? All right, so that's to come, right? Or
Yeah, I would say it wouldn't require any appropriation. It would be existing budget lines that would fund it, plus the fire department. And so the mechanics say if the fire department contributes the money, then how does it get through the budget to issue the check so it all makes sense? So it's, I agree. I mean, it's, with the one in Cross Lane, that looks like a hotel machine too. It's, so, as to the absolute need, I don't know, it seems.
I'm sure there is one, but
Yeah, whether.
I guess my question would be, it sounds like it's very old. Why wasn't it budgeted for
Right.
replacement sooner?
Yeah.
I guess someone was making ice, the over particles.
it got crunchy, and they were like, time for a new one. Rusty and
The
crunchy.
department has unusual requests. We'll get more on that.
All right.
While we're on the fire department, last month we had them here about the washer and dryer and the installation for that and the Knox boxes. And it says in our minutes that we're going to look at soon that combining the three budget requests and approving one amount at the time the work is completed, decide to wait until approve a final amount until the June 20th meeting. I don't have any information from Rob from the McCarthy, from the fire department, that it's been done, but any idea where we sit with that?
I haven't heard bids or anything that clarify more specific what's going on, but we'll have to ask them where we stand with that, because I'm trying to think back. Did it say that there was an appropriation needed? I forget.
There would be. They're over budget, or they will be over budget. It was suspected. It was a matter of how much, and that's why we waited to see in case they were over budget in other line items there. So we only have one.
Yeah, because their electric was going to be over.
Correct. And we don't have end of May financials to look at tonight, I guess.
Right.
That was one of the other things that was part of it, to see where we were at the end of May. And I don't know what the prospects of having any financials as to.
Well, I know that Kelly can produce the financials. Whether she can produce the accounts, the special accounts, the revenue account, and the capital accounts, But the carryover in the budget, I think that can be done. And then, of course, there's requests that have gone out talking about carryover year-end stuff, so that if anybody needs to defer purchases till next year, they need to.
That'll be in August, though. What Andy's talking about is just the standard kind of.
Right.
Finance.
Operating budget stuff.
Yeah. So, do you think she's capable of pushing a button?
Yeah, I think we could find out where they are as of June 30th. Maybe we can take a snapshot now and see what it looks like, to see if they're...
We're in May 31st, because this would be the meeting that we would get May 31st.
Yeah, normally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because during July, we're getting bills coming in that were really for fiscal '23.
Right.
And trying to figure out carryovers and all that stuff, so we'll get her...
I mean, I think in the past, at our July meeting, we have been able to allocate additional funds for like the '23 budget.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we can't go much beyond that.
I think that July is the last gasp on that.
Right. So,
Yeah.
at the very least, we need to have not only the fire department, but anybody else that might be over budget.
Right. So May 31st, nice to have. June 30th
Must
have.
real important to have.
Right.
You know, even reaching out to the fire department and say, did you buy anything in June that we haven't been billed for yet?
Right.
So we can, and other departments as well, so we can account for it.
Mm-hmm. Those memos have gone out to the spending agencies. So that's... Oh, here's one now.
He rode right down. Just in time. We were talking about any progress on the electrical for Cross Lane and the washer dryer and the Knox boxes.
Electrical is installed, and we're working on now getting the plumbing done, so that's up and running.
How about the dollars involved?
Randy Zellick did it, came in a little cheaper than what our last number was.
Right.
I forget.
You said 4,000. Cost for an electrical box and labor will be approximately 4,000.
Yeah, so it's currently,
For like 10,000 or 4,200?
I think it's 4,000.
4,000, yeah.
Yeah, under 4.
Under 4. Oh, okay.
That's full. I haven't actually seen a number that's full.
Yeah.
And then the Knox boxes was an additional 2,000?
Yeah, they're still working on that, 'cause that involves the contractor, the locksmith guy, they're having issues getting that scheduled and so on,
So it hasn't been billed, work hasn't been done. Okay. Do you think it's going to be done by June 30, which is 10 days from now?
doubtful.
Okay.
So I'll know for sure tomorrow night, but.
All right.
Yeah, just procedural for us. So, yeah. Okay, well, that helps, actually, right?
I would think, yeah.
But
All budget, I just remember at the end, I know we were close. Actually, a week ago, we heard that.
Oh, good. We knew the one variable in there was fuel. Electricity and fuel were two items that are out of control.
do you know we're going to come out pretty much for the year? Minus something, I guess, but...
Yeah, definitely minus, don't know exactly how much, because actually, I'll deal with more numbers tomorrow, but, there's one other maintenance or repair item on one of the trucks that was the fuel that got damaged, and that's $2,000, and I think I heard that has been delivered, so we need that.
Okay.
Just let me know when you find out.
Yeah, I'll get some numbers tomorrow night, and,
Doesn't sound like it's going to upset the apple cart, though.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it was more the real drivers were the electricity and the
And the
diesel
non-
costs. Those are driving the overall.
yeah.
Pretty significantly.
We don't have any control over it.
Right.
But like I say, I think I saw our numbers like 2 weeks ago, and we weren't quite negative yet, so
Okay.
that was sort of promising.
And then the other thing, anything that is purchased in June,
Yep.
that the bill may not arrive till July will be helpful to know about.
Yeah, and that's what definitely all the officers have been
Yeah.
talked to about, hey, let's not order too much or anything until July 1 date, so that we are keeping control of that. So they'll kind of get more on where we're at, so talk to the officers.
10 days, hands in pocket.
Pretty much. That stuff that we don't even control or do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good. Anything else?
We did talk about the ice machine at Fountain Road.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, you're here.
I'm here.
What are the ice machines for?
Actually, they get used all the time, both of them between the two stations, for emergency use, and then events that we do, just from the Memorial Day, we load up lots of coolers to other events that take place, and of course, also for members to use too.
Okay.
Yeah, because you guys are chipping in along with some emergency management money, I guess?
Yeah.
Yep. A couple thousand?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. And there's just two, one in Cross Lane and one up there, but not one in Lime Street?
Correct.
All right. Good? All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Complete your ride. All right, minutes. May 15th and then special meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for May 15th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion, comments, changes, suggested, et cetera. I was good this afternoon, so. Good? Matt, you need a minute? Okay. Any discussion, changes, et cetera? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Great.
I'll abstain since I wasn't there.
Thank you. June 8th.
I'll make a motion to accept the special meeting minutes from June 8th.
Is there a second?
Second?
All right. Discussion, comments, changes. Everyone good? All right, move to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Excellent. Other business.
I just have a question on the finance director position, like kind of what's going on with that, given the fact that we don't have
Yeah, well,
monthly results, et cetera.
well, Nicole resigned as of the 2nd of June, so we have advertising out for a replacement, various places. Amy Jensen, prior to that, she resigned, but we now have Tracy Beatty, who is soaking in very nicely, learning the ropes. They're up there now doing payroll. So we have Kelly Sterner, who was the finance director in Essex, that has been helping us, I don't know, for maybe a month and a half, something like that. More? And she's been very helpful. So she's handling a lot of the things that need to be done. and she can get some of these reports going, but her system is not the same as ours. But she's quick on it. So with luck, we can, I think our pay scale is pretty attractive relative to some of the positions around, so we hope we'll get some action on that, do some intensive interviews and fill that. But it's been interesting.
So the posting, so Nicole resigned June 2nd.
That's when we could advertise it?
That's when we started advertising?
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
And any resumes yet, or?
I haven't heard, no.
There are none. There are three, on CCM, there are 3 finance director positions available in the state. There are 27 finance directors, municipal finance directors positions open in the rest. It's a position that is
Like 10% personal taxes, but.
Yeah.
So you just gotta cross your fingers. For anyone with an auditing background, and then get certified, but
Do they need to be certified or no?
they do have to be certified within a certain period of time.
To be a finance director, or could they not be a finance director, but fulfill all the needs without that
They
directive?
can be willing to go through the certification process,
Right.
much like Suzanne
Yeah, tax.
tax collector.
Yeah.
Basically, an assistant, sort of thing. And it's just like Packard as well. You have to go through the things are constantly changing.
Well, I mean, we didn't have a finance director for a long period of time, so, there's different ways to do it. So my point is, like, we're not waiting for somebody who's certified.
No,
Right.
somebody would be willing.
Yes. Ultimately, you got to do whatever the state of Connecticut would like you to do, because you have to be certified to do, hair braiding and stuff in Connecticut, unfortunately, which you do, but, so, get it. All right. But it's in the works, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
The fishing line in the water.
Faded.
Jim, did you advertise too on the, I know Kelly Turner has adjusted that, post also on the, there's a certain certified finance site that she belongs to as,
GOFA,
I think it might, I can't remember what it was. I don't
yes, Government Finance Officer.
She has a,
We're on that site, I know.
okay. So it's posted in a couple of places.
The fingers crossed.
But we got competition, as Mark decided.
But it's not.
But you got to move to Rhode Island. So there's that.
Yeah.
You'd hope there's some assistant out there
Yeah.
that would like to have the head job in a nice little town like Old Lyme.
Sure.
Somebody that's been in Middletown or Norwich or
Someone's getting beat
London
up in
or...
Manchester and is like, what, Old Lyme is like my speed.
Summertime.
They have a position in one of those cities, and then.
Has a summer cottage down here and wants to make that their full-time residence.
Yeah.
Semi-retirement,
Right.
lower
Well,
pace, maybe.
You want to get a little more out of it than 2 or 3 years. You want to get
Yeah.
10, 15 years out of somebody in that
Well, we
position.
only have Kelly till the end of August.
Oof.
So more than 2 months. It's a low bar.
We'll get on it. Give me some.
Right.
Right.
Right, everything.
To rear its head. All right, selectmen's report.
Okay.
I'm sorry, any other business? Anybody?
No, I mean, I was looking at the minutes from last meeting. Don Bugney finally called me back to say that they put mulch over at Cross Lane.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
The playground.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to keep an eye on for the next budget, to make sure they have some playground maintenance budgeted.
This is the wood chip stuff?
This is the wood chips, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we ran into a problem at Town Woods with that at one point a few
Yeah.
years ago.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Dave, I sent you that information on Hartford Ave.
Yes. And so that's why I put other business down here. So, yes.
Because we're not all here, we might want to move it to your next meeting, and that can be there, but basically the offer that was presented to us for the parcel on Hartford Ave at $750,000.
This is Bill Rendazzo, just so folks know, and it's the old
Cost base is a lot lower.
So, Shoreline Gateway, because that's our area that we're concentrating on, made some recommendations. We sent it to Dave. Can't talk money type of thing, but I called the realtor and told her to go ahead and list it. So if you get a nibble, call me, because she couldn't hold it to stay off market for that long. So I said, we worked on it throughout the summer. As of right now, she hasn't had any papers yet. So we can hold off until your next week and maybe present more.
As it develops, yeah, and a need develops from the Board of Finance, that's the right time. But it's a good time to introduce the possibility right now. So, and probably too high of a price right now. But we also got to figure out what the town's goal is if there were a purchase, that sort of thing. So,
giving you some ideas, I said.
Yeah, right.
Talk about that, and Matt will be there when he's back from vacation.
Yeah.
We can both present.
Yep, sounds good. So now as I said, I think in my response to you too, we've had situations where we bought the property across the street and owned it for 3 years and then sold it for basically what we bought it for, so making sure that whatever we do has a strong purpose and a strong direction, I think will be important to me personally and probably to others too. Not just like, boy, that'd be great to have type of thing, which you agreed with. So, yeah. Yep. Good. Okay. Any other business? I got to vote.
Okay. Well, speaking of Sound View, Miami Beach has had a couple of sessions with some of us about Pond Road. Now, as you know, Pond Road is the perpendicular road to Hartford Avenue to Portland, and it is technically property of Miami Beach. There was an agreement done in '97 that said the town could use that road to have a circulation from Hartford over to Portland. And it also provided that the parking lot in Miami Beach would have access out of, from Portland into that. Miami would love to have Pond Road be, maybe not all of it, but a good chunk of it be a way that Miami Beach residents who live south of our parking lot could get to their properties without having to go through town roads, which seems a bit interesting. So they wanted to have, say, 2/3 of that parcel be Miami Beach, and then the town would install a new road to the north of it for the circulation, which includes some telephone poles and, chewing up some of our parking area. So we sniffed at it and didn't exhibit too much interest in it. And then they said, well, we don't think that our president at the time had the authority to execute the documents, that he was overstepping his authority. So at this point, we referred it to council because there were lawyers present during it actually was in court. The town lost an effort to have the road be a town road, and but there was a settlement at which this arrangement was concocted. Mary Lynn Clark was our lawyer, and they had a lawyer as well. So we're wondering if they were represented. It seemed that they would have had advice, whether he had authority or not. So we're not agreeing to anything at this point for sure, and so we'll see where that goes. But it seems to me it's a lot of work to get people to their properties. There are probably 4 driveways along that stretch that feed.
What's the town get out of it? What's the town get out of it, if we were to agree to it?
Apparently nothing. They initially said they'd help pay for the new road, but, then when
But it's on ice right now.
they took the velvet glove off, and so we'll see. But I don't know. The survey makes a line where it goes along to the west, and then it jogs in, and then it continues west again. It's kind of a strange thing, and so there's sort of conflicts between different deeds, and so as to where the boundary should be versus where the surveyors have worked it out, it's curious because there's about a 5-foot difference starting at Hartford Avenue. It's further south, and then it jogs to the north, right about where the bathrooms are, and then continues to Portland.
But it's on ice right now, so.
Oh yeah, well, we haven't made a statement one way or the other, but it's been referred to council, and I think there's probably going to be some discussion legally as to who represented whom and all that.
But if you're down, you should really describe, take them in the ground. It's very interesting how it's staked out by their survey.
I was going to say, who
Yeah.
surveyed it? Their surveyor?
Yeah.
And haven't we been talking about?
I know, I asked Frank that, there's like thousands of dollars.
Budgeted money in the past.
It never got used. It was
Right.
$20,000 for like 8 years.
Yes.
And Michaela had taken and then somebody else took the, reins, and it never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get certainly more on that.
Too little, by the way. Sure.
The Halls Road zoning, as you know, because of the planning denial, had to have a supermajority, so they, even though they voted a majority in favor of the overlay district, they didn't reach the supermajority, so it was deemed to be not approved by zoning, and there's a 1-year cooling off period that is a policy, although...
Before they can reapply.
Right.
Yeah.
They have to reapply, and of course, the town, the selectmen, I signed the application before for them.
Because the town is the applicant.
Yeah, because it's a committee.
Yeah.
So I think the whole thing dates back maybe to March. So they have a lot of things to do. So this 1-year thing, we could say, let's stick to that. That's the rule. I guess zoning would have the ability to waive that requirement and hear it earlier. But as to how early it would be, it's hard to know when they'd be ready to go back. So we voted to move it forward, right? Before, so if the select board said, okay, let's try it, we'll sign a new thing with new language, it seems to be more agreeable, or we could just say, we're going to wait. And if we signed it, then they'd still have to get zoning to allow the hearing of it before the year's up. So, but we haven't made any decisions yet about that, so it's still in limbo. The bridge work is still moving forward. There's discussion with the Grable family with the Hangry Goose property because that property goes out quite close to the abutment. So if the bridge goes across the Lieutenant River, there would need to be an easement so that you could go down that little road, to the left of the restaurant. Parking would probably not be permitted or would not be permitted near the bushes and stuff on the side. That would have to be where people could gain access to it. So that could trigger a bigger discussion about parking in general in that that complex, because the Graybills own the restaurant, I think the Architect Building, the Webster Bank buildings, and so forth. It's a clumsy setup with the entry and exit that goes right to where the island is for parking, and it's just strange. So, but, you know, I don't know how much the Graybills would want to do.
You've got utility easements as well, because the power lines are kind of north of the road more than they are on other property.
Yeah, and the drainage which comes from the Lime Art Association underground stops and becomes a ditch before Lieutenant River. It's probably 75 or 100 feet where the pipe ends and where the river is. So, you know, I said, well, why don't they just put another length of pipe and have it go closer to the river and fill that in, and then that land is usable for access to the bridge and stuff. So that needs to be worked out. But apparently, Graybills are open to having the bridge and access. I guess also there was, when the DEP was involved, there were 2 parking spaces when Graybills stuck some sort of a little dock down there that people could come and park, and 2 spots near the end there that could look out over the river, which probably would have to go because you wouldn't want that sort of stuff for the access. So anyway, we'll hear more about that. But they're moving along with the design, and we paid a bill recently, and so that engineering work is moving forward. Soundview Sewer, we're still standing by for anything more tangible on the forgivable grant, 14 to 17 million. So far, nothing is on paper to say you have it. So we're waiting. Ferrywood sidewalks, there was a 1-year extension approved by the DOT, so we have till August of 24 to do that project. So I think probably within a month we should be able to put the project out to bid and see how we do for the sidewalk job. That'll be nice. Swan Brook, the crib has been repaired. A couple more things need to be done there, but we're watching to see whether the sand is still going to enter the pipes. One thought is that if we put, because we have 2 36-inch pipes that are very, very level, if we put a cover over the west pipe, which has been blocked for the most part, maybe that would force the water into the east pipe and would prevent sand from entering the west pipe. And were there to be a big storm or something, we could have a track that a metal plate could slide down over, cover the pipe. So we're wondering whether that might help, because once we cleaned the pipes out, between then and when the crib was built, there was more sand accumulated. And the guy tried to clear it out, but he didn't finish the west pipe. So we're wondering, you know, what's the situation, because it would be, I think, important not to have it clog up again, even with the crib. So we're evaluating that. But it might be, if we could get this track installed and a plate to go down there, maybe that would make the left one work properly, and then when a big storm's coming, we can pull the thing out and now all the pipes could flow. So still fiddling with that.
Finance-wise, we're good in terms of...
Oh, yeah, because we have not only the ARPA money, which still, I don't know, we spent 35, I think we spent maybe 40,000 out of the, well, actually, maybe close. We had 55 from ARPA, and we had another 55 in capital,
Because all the...
in case the ARPA didn't come through. Huh?
All the COVID coming out of those pipes.
Yeah. So we do have, you know, and to clear the pipe, that's a couple of grand to blow all the sand out and stuff, but we don't want to be doing that frequently, so I think we'll evaluate this. But yeah, we have decent money to play with it. Tanamaheg, we sent a letter to the butters there, and they had till the 16th to look at our proposal, which was basically what we said a long time ago. A couple of parking spots, access, the whole thing. And if they don't, then I think we make the decision to install signage, get rid of plantings that are in the way that they put on the property, cut the phragmites again, and see where the chips fall.
That was the 16th of this month?
Yeah, last Friday.
Did we receive a response?
Say?
Did we receive a response from them?
I think a response was, we were traveling in Europe and we'll get back to you. But that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I walk down there frequently, and new bushes and trees appear all the time.
Yeah.
Is that right?
There's a pile of pea stone that was blocking the road down there.
Yeah, so I think
So it's not that they've stopped doing
No.
anything waiting for a resolution. It's new trees, new giant, I mean, these are like not little bushes, they're like $500 bushes.
Yeah.
That are,
Well,
yeah.
I think we can get the loader up there and just dig.
Welcome back from vacation, put them in their driveway.
Yeah, that'll be good. We'll go up there with a loader and a police car. Button Ball, this is not money really, just an update. Some minor trail stuff has been opened up for people to look at the property. The budget does provide for $20,000, so they start looking into the potential dock that would be installed down there, but there's no future money for a dock. It's just basically for some engineering and some signage and things. So that's cooking along, and the various the two commissions, Harbor and Open Space, are working together on this, which is helpful. McCulloch, the two affordable lots that are on the McCulloch property, we had meetings with Affordable Housing, and the selectmen, Affordable made the recommendation, and the selectmen agreed that Habitat for Humanity should be the developer, so-called. And if you recall, there's a $150,000 ARPA grant for this. So when we, quote, close, there'd be a transfer of 100 from ARPA money to Habitat, and from Habitat back to Open Space. There's a lot release for the two lots, $50,000 each. The other 50 could be for site work on the two lots to the extent it could be done, and then Habitat would do the rest. They would then work to, with the committee kind of looking over the shoulder to build the houses and qualify people to move into the houses. And there'd be liens on the property for whatever money was advanced by the town and by Habitat for the house. Kind of like HOPE, but a little more complicated at the beginning. But in the end, that would be two houses that would be off of Flat Rock Hill Road there. We talked about staff. Historic District asked me, said, look, we're going to be a little over on our admin person, Martha, so they said that they would still be under on their budget. So I said, so long as your budget is under, your one line item could be over, but if the whole budget is under, that should be okay. So they shouldn't run afoul of that. And last, on Calkins Road, which is part of Village Estates, so if you go McCurdy to the end, cross over 156, you're into this Village Estates. And there's Catherine Road, North Road, and Calkins. Well, Calkins goes down to the water practically, and there's an open space parcel at the end. And some person or persons have constructed a walkway to a dock through the marsh from the open space property. And the DEP has informed us that this is not cricket. And so I talked to Ed about removing this walkway And depending on the dock, how much of a problem it is, that could be done from the land or maybe a boat or something to get rid of it. I think we'll probably send a letter out to the various homeowners within this Village Estates to say, in case anybody knows anything about this, just want to let you know that the DEP insists that this be removed. It's a 70-foot wooden walkway and this dock through the marsh.
It's pretty substantial.
It's, you know, it's
Cheap as ever.
It's horizontal, like cedar poles or something with boards.
Mhm.
Not too fancy.
Okay.
Okay.
But nonetheless,
It doesn't have pilings or anything like that.
well, the dock is secured with vertical stuff. I don't know, I haven't seen it, but there's glossy pictures and stuff. So it's got to go. And so we inform the land, and if anybody clams up, then we'll just get rid of it. If somebody, I think one advertisement for a house for sale indicated there's a private walkway to a dock and stuff to enhance the value of it.
Yeah, for a period of time.
I think that, do you have anything else, Martha?
No, Dave, you have 6 minutes.
I know, that's what I'm looking at. Okay, public comment. Anyone? Adjourn meeting. I'll entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, very good, okay. I gotta keep my voting record clean.
Get 6 minutes.
I know.
Plenty of time.